The song we have just heard has said it all. Very poignant words indeed. Be still, my soul. The Lord is on thy side. Bear patiently the cross of grief or pain. Leave to thy God to order and provide. In every change, he faithful will remain. Be still, my soul. When change and tears are past, all safe and blessed, we shall meet at last. May the words expressed in this song provide you, the listener, and me, the presenter, apt sentiments we need in this presentation before us, and indeed on this slide before you, entitled Freedom of Conscience and Legalizing Assisted Dying / Suicide. To be or not to be, biblical implications and ethical ramifications in this private member's bill in the House of Commons. I repeat, legalizing the assisted dying, assisted suicide. To be or not to be. The main purpose of this presentation is meant to provide a Seventh-day Adventist Church's response to this rather emotive issue or subject of legalizing assisted suicide or assisted dying. But first, it is my intention to provide relevant information you and I need to bear in mind to set the background to the response I will provide. I invite you to look at this slide now before you. Legalizing assisted dying, assisted suicide. You will see at the center of this slide a telling placard or sign held by a petitioner entitled My Death, My Decision. And in a lighter kind of color below says, Campaigning for Assisted Dying. I then invite you to look at the left, a legislative prospect in progress that will seek to endorse the death and decision one makes as a personal autonomy that must be respected by law. My decision, my choice, on one hand. And then on the right hand, you will see a biblical guidance from the Holy Bible, providing the sanctity of human life, provided by God Himself. I then invite you to look at the middle, taking into consideration the law of the land and the law of God. Which of these two takes precedence, you reckon? I submit to you that this subject of legalizing assisted dying, assisted suicide, is a sensitive one that must be handled and ought to be handled with great care, sensitivity, courtesy, and respect on both sides of the debate. Now, a question may be asked, but what brings us today to where we are at? You'll see my source below, the UK Parliament Post, brief 47, assisted dying, 26th of September 2020, provides some areas, but I've just for our purpose chosen two UK stakeholder perspectives. The beginning one being public attitudes. It would seem to suggest that the public attitudes have changed over time. A kind of social trend maybe or is dictating the agenda. I just want you to concentrate where I have highlighted in yellow. Follow me as I read. Most of the available data are based on opinion polls. 3 polls from 2018 and 2019 suggest that over 3/4 of UK adults support legalizing some form of assisted dying. So times have changed. Way below, the latest survey in 2017 found 77% of respondents supported assisted dying for terminally ill patients, as it were. So times and the public attitudes have moved on. Another one that the UK Post Brief 47 brings out is international experience. On your left, where I have highlighted in yellow, says assisted dying is legal in at least 27 jurisdictions worldwide. So as if UK doesn't want to be left behind. In the middle, you'll see countries like Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Colombia, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Spain, Switzerland, 10 USA states, the District of Columbia. These have been already cited as having assisted dying taking place. And on another larger screen, you see all those countries around the world, some more pronounced possibly than others. Having said that, I think it will be important for us to know that no current law on assisted dying yet. The term assisted dying does not exist in UK law at this juncture. To date, two institutions, the UK government and Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, have taken the view that any change to the law in this area is a matter for Parliament to determine as an issue of individual conscience. The government's view remains that any change to the law in this area must be for individual parliamentarians to consider as an issue of conscience rather than a decision for the government. Now, if I may mention that there have been three major cases that have been considered by the Supreme Court already. As I said, the highest court in the land pertaining to the issue of assisted dying. But suffice for me to mention two particular current laws or acts that are in place. The Homicide Act 1957 shows that suicide was or is unlawful. Then you come to Suicide Act 1961, 2-3 years later. There is a slight change, as you can see. In Section 1, suicide to cease to be a crime. Earlier it was a crime, now it has been abrogated by 1961 Suicide Act. The rule of law, whereby it is a crime for a person to commit suicide, is hereby abrogated. But however, Section 2 still remained that criminal liability for complicity in somebody else's suicide was still unlawful. Better still, from a Parliamentary Office of Science and Technology briefing noted pertaining to assisted dying. And I liked its comment below pertaining to the two acts of Parliament, the Homicide Act 1957 and Suicide Act 1961. This is what it said. It is an offense in England and Wales to assist or encourage another person's suicide under Section 2(1) of the Suicide Act 61. That's the one I showed you, Section 2. But then goes on, euthanasia is illegal across the UK under the Homicide Act 1957 and could be prosecuted as a murder or a manslaughter. You will now begin to see that the assisted dying bill, if eventually passed into a law, will now pave a way for assistance in one's decision to commit suicide, which at this juncture is unlawful. Now, you'll have heard her name again and again, Kim Leadbeater, Labour MP, won a ballot, which really it's important for us to know we find ourselves where we are because the assisted dying bill was introduced by her having won a ballot. I repeat, the terminally ill adults end of life bill is now in the House of Commons following Kim Leadbeater's win during this ballot. Let me play for you a short clip leading to that you may find interesting.
Order, order. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Committee Room 16 in the House of Commons, We're here for the ballot for the Private Members Bill 2024-2025. The ballot draw for the Private Members Bill for this session is about to take place. We had an extraordinary 458 members enter the ballot this year. You may want to wonder why 458 members enter the ballot, or why we have a glass bowl and numbered balls. If you win today, if your number is called in the ballot, you have a fantastic opportunity of having your campaign, your issue debated in the Commons. And if you get enough support from colleagues, your campaign or your issue can become law or change the law. This is the most transparent, as you can see, way of ensuring that every backbench MP has an equal opportunity of having their ball drawn. Now, we will draw 20 numbers in reverse order of precedence from 20th to 1st. I now ask the clerk assistant to begin the draw. As each number is drawn, I will repeat it and then read out the corresponding name of the member from the ballot book. 458 members entered. I wish them all the very best of luck. Now, let the ballot commence.
$400.
20th number is indeed 400. And that is Dr. Rupa Huck. Dr. Rupa Huck.
Second number is 286.
I can confirm the number is 286, 286. And that is Wendy Chamberlain. That is Wendy Chamberlain.
She was successful 2 sessions ago.
Wendy, I believe, was successful 2 times or 2
sessions ago.
2 sessions ago, so she's obviously got some stardust there.
431.
431, 431. Sarah Owen. That is Sarah Owen.
396.
396, 396, Dr. Ros Savage. Dr. Ros Savage. Right. Number
Extra shuffle. Here. And that is 499.
499, that is Max Wilkinson. That is Max Wilkinson. Congratulations to you. But now we come to the member who gets the first pick of the Fridays allocated to private members' bills. This is the big one. Are we ready to draw? The winner for 2024 ballot is...
It is number 238.
It is number 238. 238. Well done. Well done to Kim Ledbeater. Well done to Kim. You are number 1 and you'll be, gosh, very busy indeed. That concludes the proceedings. A list of the successful members will be posted forthwith in the No lobby, and printed lists will be available in the vote office and posted on Parliament's website by about 9:30 a.m. Order, order.
Following that ballot, the UK Parliament House of Commons now started the process of the Terminally Ill Adults End-of-Life Bill. It was introduced on the 16th of October 2024 as a private member's bill. I showed you about the ballot because the conversation is out there. Why such a public issue should come through the corridors of private members' bill? Why not through a public consultation? In order to help and engage the consciousness of the public, rather than a mere member of parliament, rather, to not only introduce it, but to represent the public, followed by this particular method. As I said, there are those who would have wished either a referendum or a public consultation, as it were. However, on the 16th, it was introduced in the House of Commons, and you'll see the process began. Its long title is before you, a bill to allow adults who are terminally ill, subject to safeguards and protections, to request and be provided with assistance to end their own life and for connected purposes. The passage of this bill, you can see from your left, we started with a first reading on the 16th, and on the 29th of November, it was passed, and now it's in the committee stages, as it were. And the whole course or process you can see from the House of Commons, then it will go to the House of Lords. The first reading will be followed, as indeed it was in the House of Commons, and then it will be brought to the House of Commons finally on my right, the final stages, and if passed, then, only then, will it be taken to Buckingham Palace for the King to place the royal assent. And when the Prime Minister is driving from Buckingham Palace to Westminster, it will, if all goes according to how it is being anticipated by others, it will have become law. However, I just want to us now just to briefly also be minded that Kim Leadbeater's assisted dying bill was published, and I just want us to refresh, if you have gone through this already, or for you to be minded of the key elements of the bill itself. It's before you. I just want us to concentrate where I have highlighted that the right to ask for help to die will be limited to people who have 6 months or fewer left, if they're terminally ill, to live. 2 independent doctors will be involved, including a High Court judge. And also something to note, no doctor will be under any obligation to participate in any part of the process. And also to be minded that it will be the individual who must self-administer the lethal injection, if you please. Age groups 18 years and over, and that patient or individual must be mentally capable to make a decision. These are some of the few things that I've been able to pick. The Maxim Institute provides us a good definition of assisted dying. I don't want us just to use the term without really appreciating its full weight. The Maxim Institute says, what is the difference between euthanasia and assisted suicide? Assisted dying can take 2 forms, euthanasia or assisted suicide. Broadly, euthanasia describes the situation where the person who is asking for assistance to die has someone else take the action that leads to their unnatural death, like injecting a lethal drug. And assisted suicide is when the person is prescribed the drugs, but that they must take themselves in order to die. So one, it is provided, the injection, and the other, the individual administers the drug, as it were. More or less the same kind of definition from the Parliamentary Office of Science and Technology. A briefing note on assisted dying puts it this way. Assisted dying refers here to the involvement of healthcare professionals in the provision of lethal drugs intended to end a patient's life at their voluntary request. Please mark that. Subject to eligibility criteria and safeguards. It includes healthcare professionals prescribing lethal drugs for the patient to self-administer, physician-assisted suicide, and healthcare professionals administering lethal drugs for euthanasia. So more or less earlier, one, professionals administer, and the other, the individual who would have made the request administers, as it were. Now, terminally ill adults end of life bill, as I said, it's already in Parliament. I'm more interested from religious organizations because that's where I'll be coming from. We have had comments from the British Islamic Medical Association. You'll see recorded there the Catholic bishops of England, Wales, and Scotland. They've made or provided their input. Church of England has also, Church in Wales. The faith leaders have made, of different persuasions, have made an open statement, as it were. This is where I really come in to provide a Seventh-day Adventist response to this, which I'm hoping very shortly indeed I've been in touch with my local MP, but I'll be submitting in person a Seventh-day Adventist response to this issue. Now, the General Conference, the governing body, if you please, of the Seventh-day Adventists has addressed this issue. For, among other things, you will see it has issued a statement of consensus on care for the dying. That is the heading within this body of work commenting on other issues. If I may mention that this consensus statement was approved and voted by the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventist Executive Committee at an annual council session in Silver Spring, Maryland, October 9, 1992, way back then, but also revised by the General Conference Executive May the 9th, 2013. So I'm sharing with you parts of the document addressing the issue of assisted dying that is in practice at this juncture. If I may begin within that statement, the slide before you, I read it in your hearing, just follow me. It has become common to discuss such questions under the heading of euthanasia. Much confusion exists with regard to this expression. The original and literal meaning of this term was good death. Today, the term euthanasia is associated with mercy killing or, please mark, intentionally taking the life of a patient. Why? In order to avoid painful dying, or in order to alleviate burdens for who? Patient's family or society. Mark, Seventh-day Adventists believe that allowing a patient to die by foregoing medical interventions that only prolong suffering and postpone the moment of death is morally different. From what? From actions that have as their primary intention the direct taking of a life. I will amplify that. So the Seventh-day Adventists show a marked difference. There will be an occasion, a classic example, possibly someone on a life support um, uh, apparatus. You cannot carry on if the diagnosis is not providing any hope. So you will make steps, but those steps are not meant to intentionally and directly take the life of an individual, assisting that person to die. I will amplify a little bit more on this. So already you can see that intentions of anybody or anyone to terminate somebody's life in the Seventh-day Adventist Church is not practiced or allowed. But you may say, why? Well, let me continue. Seventh-day Adventists seek to address the ethical or moral issues at the end of life of that terminally ill in ways that demonstrate their faith in God as a creator and redeemer. Very important. The Seventh-day Adventist basis its stance on that God is the creator and the redeemer. Therefore, two things take place. I continue reading. Seventh-day Adventists, therefore, affirm God's creation of human life as a wonderful gift, worthy of being protected and sustained. Genesis 1 and 2. We'll come to that. They also affirm God's wonderful gift of redemption that provides eternal life for those who believe. John 3, 15, 17, and 3. So right here, you will see, as I said, it is the Seventh-day Adventist affirmation of God as a creator of human life and also a provider of the gift of salvation. You may then ask, why is the intentional or premeditated taking of human life in any shape or form, even in the realm of assisted dying, assisted suicide, or euthanasia, unacceptable in the Seventh-day Adventist Church in any shape or form? Here are the reasons why. Assisted dying is problematic in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. As I read, God's creation of human life. And in that, we cited Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27 says, "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them." You cannot be instrumental to take life because only God made mankind in his image. And that mankind is God's highest created order. It is only God that provides life for it not to be taken away. In Genesis chapter 2:7, even puts it this way: "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." So, from those two verses, God is the one who creates. In 2 verse 7, provides the sustenance of life itself. God is the source and the giver of life itself. Therefore, no any other human being can have the authority to take out that which he did not bring in the first place. And I even possibly put it this way: I did not choose my parents. Neither did my parents choose me when I was born, but God through them created me. Which brings out here, because of that, only God, who determines when I come into life, must determine when I go out of this life. It is also encouraging. We don't only think of death, but of redemption. As the statement said earlier on, John 3:15, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. John 17 verse 3, and this is the life eternal, that they might know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom thou hast sent. Our beginning into this world is through God. And how we will end is determined by the redemption we have through God in his Son, Jesus Christ. If I may now continue to say, because this is the statement from the Seventh Adventist Church, because of their commitment to care for the whole person, Seventh-day Adventists are concerned about the physical, but not only the physical, when you are born and when you die, but the emotional and the spiritual care of the dying, not how to prescribe something for them to die, as it were. To this end, they offer the following biblical-based principles as I continue to bring on point 5. While Christian love may lead to the withholding or withdrawing of medical interventions that only increase suffering or prolong dying, steps may be taken, to monitor a situation where you will not just be allowed to exist, but you'll be given all the comfort you need as long as your life takes. I want you to see where I've highlighted seventh day, taking that into consideration. Seventh day Adventists do not practice mercy killing or assist in suicide. Even, may I add, assist in dying. From a biblical perspective, Genesis 9, verses 5 to 6, 23, verse 7. But I have highlighted, for the time that we have, Exodus 20, verse 13, in yellow shade. Based on that, Seventh-day Adventists are opposed to the intentional taking of the life of a suffering or dying person. In a nutshell, Seventh-day Adventists do not and must not condone to assisting intentionally a life that is suffering to end itself. Exodus 20:13, that biblical statement is the one before you. Seventh-day Adventists do not practice mercy killing, as I stated, assist in dying, or assist in suicide. Why? Exodus chapter 20, verse 13, the shortest in the 10 commandments of Exodus 20. Thou shalt not kill, King James Version. You shall not murder, English Standard Version. You shall not kill. You shall not murder. In Hebrew original word, both to kill and to murder are used interchangeably. You shall not kill. This is a straightforward commitment that prohibits the intentional taking of another person's life. This commandment, not God's suggestion or recommendation, it is God's commandment that provides moral principles that underscore, in my view, or underpin the sanctity of human life and the inherent dignity of every person. It is a call to respect and to protect human life. Times may have changed, as many people say. Well, God may have said it way back then, but time has moved on. Can I submit to you that your God and mine, who created you and me in his image, has not changed? But you may say to me, what are the ways we will do to break Exodus chapter 20, verse 13 in our time? To kill and to murder. Well, can I repeat? Being intentional, making a premeditated decision to take a life of a human being through assisted dying or assisted death, assisted suicide, would, in my view, fall rather in that category. It has been brought to my attention again and again. What if an individual is very ill and is in great pain, depressed, and discouraged. I submit to you, we must think of providing help to assist the individual to be able, with every opportunity before us, done to protect that individual, as opposed to eliminate that individual by assisted dying or assisted suicide. If I may uh, bring in point 6, Christian compassion calls for the alleviation of suffering. In caring for the dying, it is a Christian responsibility to relieve pain and suffering. And Seventh-day Adventists acknowledge there'll be times when someone is very much in great pain, but continues to the fullest extent possible when it is clear that medical intervention would not cure a patient. Those times Adventists acknowledge. You then don't prescribe assisted suicide. But where I have highlighted the primary goal of care should shift to relief from suffering, I have put in quotes that be equivalent to palliative care. And I'm so glad since this decision came to the open from medical doctors and ministers, even MPs, clergymen, they have sought that we make sure that the palliative care is up to the mark. Because anything short than that, to go through the pathway of assisting the dying, the palliative care may even deteriorate from where it is now. Let me repeat, at the bottom, the primary goal of care, as Adventists understand, should shift not to prescribe assistance to dying, but shift to relief from the suffering of that patient through palliative care. Having said, therefore, that I will be taking part in making this presentation and several others I have in mind, really simply to ask, possibly at this juncture, it may not be late, that before members of parliament just run with this and eventually possibly become law, I think there must be a pause where there is a public consultation. It won't hurt. It will give members of parliament, the executive, and the public the opportunity to go through this life-changing piece of legislation. I just want really to say once again, it is a subject that has, to many, not easy answers, particularly those who are directly affected, but based on the Seventh-day Adventist acknowledgement that God is the creator, therefore the one who provides life and has the final saying to what he provided, that aspect be taken seriously and into consideration. Thank you so very much for listening to this presentation, and I welcome any comments and I welcome any input that can help us all in the end not take life, but protect life that God Himself brought to bear. Thank you.